folks, in this video we're going to be exploring how to rig up a flying creature and then import it into Unreal Engine. There are a few more bits and bobs involved in this. We're going to look a little bit at rigging, a little bit at painting skin weights, and then how to import the model along with some textures into Unreal, add some additional animations, but hopefully it should be fairly straightforward for you. So that's it, folks. So in the next video, we're going to be looking into Maya and rigging the character in there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hi folks, in this video we're going to be exploring how to rig up a flying creature and then import it into Unreal Engine. There are a few more bits and bobs involved in this. We're going to look a little bit at rigging, a little bit at painting skin weights, and then how to import the model along with some textures into Unreal, add some additional animations, but hopefully it should be fairly straightforward for you. So that's it, folks. So in the next video, we're going to be looking into Maya and rigging the character in there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hi, folks, and welcome back to the next video. So now we're in Maya, and now basically I'm going to go through really how I rigged it. I'm not necessarily going to go through the modeling side of it. You can see here anyway, if I just move that down a little bit. We can see here we've got the little character with the wings going. So in this video, I'm going to be basically showing you how to import your model. Now I've already textured this in 3D Coat. I've taken the liberty of putting a texture on there. Now it's not showing through great at the moment because I'm just animating this in Maya, but when we put it through into Unreal, it'll look a lot better. We can see there I've got all the keyframes. If I just click on one of the handles there, go into there, you see there, we've got all the, it's very, very basic. And it's just flying up and down. Now, for some reason, I couldn't get the up and down motion to go, which is why I'm going to animate that in Unreal. But that is pretty much it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start another project. I'm going to take you through how this was rigged, and also how to create the control handles to operate it. So that's it, folks. Let's get going. So I'm going to go to new scene. Don't save. And I'm going to go through to import, and I'm going to go and find the OBJ, which is there. We go import that. There we are. So we just press 6 on it there, and you can see there. So this is it in its raw form. Now we can put the little grid on there just to kind of give it some kind of context. So this is a really simple rig that we're going to do. It's not complex. And what we have to do is we have to, in the top left corner here, we have to go down to where it says rigging. Make sure you got the outliner. If you don't know how to do that, you want to go to Windows and select outliner, and then drag it over onto the side there. And I'm going to go into the front view. So I'm going to hit the space bar, go into the front view, just hit 6 again, just so you can see it. It's not necessary for it to be textured, but anyway, just to show you. And I'm going to go to where it says rigging, go there, and then you'll see a whole bunch of things here. We've got the icons for the locator, and it's the joints that we're going to, basically the two main things we're going to be using are the crate joint and also the crate IK handle. So I'm going to select the joint tool there, and what I'm going to do is I'm simply just going to click, click, and click, and then hit enter. Yeah, if you can't see it that well, you can always hit X-ray. It'll give you a bit more of a view. And then go select select that tool again. I'm going to click on that joint this time, and then just click on there, like so, and then hit enter. And that's it for that. Now we want to get the same on the other side, so I'm just going to go and just select the entire joint. And what we're going to do is going to go up to skeleton and go to mirror joints, like so. Click on that. And now it'll give us the same set of joints on the other side. Now we'll probably have to do some maneuvering, which is fine, because at the moment we've just got it in the orthographic view. Going to hit spacebar. I'm going to go back to, well, this instance, probably go for the top view. Just hit 6. And also I'll go to X-ray. And this time I'm going to create some joints. So select the joint tool. And I'm going to click a joint at the front there, 1. Select one there, 2. And then select another one at the tail, 3, and then hit enter. Hit spacebar. We'll go into that view. Now, it's all going to be off. That's fine. I'm just going to hit the X-ray key there. So what we can do is we can start to maneuver all of these into place. So, for example, with basically a head, which is going to form essentially the spine, we can maybe take care of that first. We can maybe go into the side view. I'll just hit 6 and also hit the X-ray. Let's get in a bit closer. So I'm going to move that down to say somewhere where the eye is. Now, if we want to try and move these joints, it can be a bit tricky because it moves the entire thing. You know, it's going to move that, but it's going to move that as well because it's all parented. One of the things we can do is if we hold down D, it can isolate this joint now, and we can move it into position without disturbing the other parts. So that's quite a useful tool for you to play around with. Just be sure not to click on the mesh. And I'm going to put that in place there. Okay, let's go and have a look, maybe just in the perspective view again, and just sort of see. All right, so that's looking all right. I might just want to kind of move this joint a little bit further over that way. So maybe even just select it, hold down D, and just bring that forward, because this is basically going to connect up with the wings. Okay, so that's looking good so far. We just need to move these wings into place now, the little joints. So we can just do it a number of ways. We can maybe select the end joints there, shift and then select. And then we can actually move these together. And again, you can hold down D if you want, but I'm just moving this because it's at the very end. And for the middle one, again, what I'm going to do here is select the middle one there. Hold down Shift, select the middle one there. And then hold down D, and then we're going to just move that into place like so. And then lastly, for this last part, I'm going to click on the end one there, Shift and select there, hold down D, and then we're just going to move that into place like so. So something like that. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Mind you, I just need to maybe just move this in a little bit. I just tweak that a little bit there. Tweak that a little bit there. Okay. There we go. So the next part is what we're going to do is we're going to parent. So we do this by basically we're going to select the left wing, hold down Shift, select the right wing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to connect these up to that joint. So I'm going to hold down Shift and select that joint. And then I'm going to hit P. And you see what it does there? So now connected, hit P, it's now created joints that go to both these points. That's very, very handy. Okay. So we can just test this out. I'm just going to just have a quick look. I'm going to select this end joint here, shift and end joint there. And I'm going to hit the E key there, and let's just have a look and see how that's looking. So that's looking okay. I'm just going to look at these end joints here. And just see how they fare. They're looking all right. Okay, so it's going to undo that. So basically, if I just hit the middle joint there and the middle joint there, and then go for the inner circle here, you can see that these are actually functioning very well. Now, it's not bound to the skin at the moment, but that's fine. That's all looking good. So the only thing that's left to do now at this stage, so we can actually bind it to the skin, is we're going to bind it to the skin. So what we're going to do is we're going to now select the entire thing. So if I just go select all of these, middle joint and also the head, shift and then select. So they're all selected, and then shift and select the mesh. Then I'm going to go to skin and I'm going to go to bind skin. Give it a second. There we go. Take it off X-ray. Now we should see now, or maybe I'll just put it back on X-ray. If I just select both of these here and hit the E key, it is now bound to the skin. Now you can see that it's doing a funny thing where it's stretching out the body. We are going to take care of that using the skin weights. But that is pretty much it for this video, folks. So in the next video, we're going to be looking at creating controllers for our joints and also doing the skin weighting. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Okay, welcome back, folks. So in this video, we're going to be looking at creating controllers, and also we're going to look at painting the skin weights. So let's start off with creating some controllers for this. So this is very, very simple. I'm going to put it back into the X-ray mode now. So we're basically going to create a controller for this wing, controller for that wing, one for the head, and then one for the back end here. In order to do that, we're going to go through to the curves and surfaces, and we're going to select the NURBS circle. And I'm going to do here is I'm going to rotate that. Now, if you want to be precise with this, you can be, but basically, if you want to make this say 90 degrees exactly, you can just type it in there. It's not entirely necessary. So we'll have our controller for the front, which you can see there. Okay. And then for the back, all we need to do is Shift and D, and then we can just basically put one at the back like so. Nice and simple. Now we need one for the side, so I'm going to hit Shift and D again. But we need to rotate this again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the E key. And again, if you want to be precise about this, I'm just going to rotate that. Now, because this is going in the minus, we need to do -90, like so. If you want to enlarge them a little bit, you can do that. And then we can put them in position. Great. And this bit is really simple. We'll go back to the rigging. We need to select the joint and we need to give it an IK handle. So skeleton, create IK handle and click. And then all we need to do is click at the end joint here at the wing. And then go to the other end and click. And once you've done that, you'll see that basically it creates like a sort of little string that kind of goes across. Like so. I'm going to do the same on the other side as well. And then we're going to do it for the top and bottom as well. Great stuff. Now you'll see at the very end, we've got this kind of very faint lines, these kind of 3 lines. And this is what we're going to connect up with the circle. So I'm going to go back to the selection tool. I'm going to select that, those lines, or one of those lines. Hold down Shift and select the circle and hit P for parent. I'm going to do the same on the other side. And then same thing with this. And then just for the end, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the joint itself. Shift, select, and P. Now with any luck, if I come out of the X-ray mode, if I now hold on, let's say select that, Shift select that, and Shift select the other one, and hit W, what we should see now is on the wings, but you can see this time it's a lot more sophisticated. We actually get like a joint in there, which is pretty cool. We're still getting that weird bending, but we'll come to that in a minute. And then if we just have a look at the front, that's all good. And at the end as well. So you can see there, control to body. All right, so we've still got this issue of it kind of warping because we don't really want the body to warp. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have a go at playing around with the skin weighting. So first of all, because the way that this wing is going to be moving, if I hit E now, ideally it's going to be, the wings are going to be sort of bent forward. So if I just go back there again and go and select, say, the other circle, we'll bend them both forward. Now what we don't want is, as you can see at the bottom there, if I just zoom in a little bit, we don't want that the body to be moving that way. So we want it to kind of freeze. So Maya has this very, very cool tool with the skin weighting. Now it is a little bit of a sort of, it's one of those things where you have to kind of just really have a bit of a play around. It's not an exact science. So in order to do this, I'm going to select the entire mesh. I'm going to go through to skin and I'm going to go to where it says paint skin weight. I'm going to select that. Okay. And you can see there it brings up a little box. I'm going to double click on that. And then you'll see there all the joints are represented within it. If I just zoom in a little bit there, you should be able to sort of see it a little bit more. We've got effectively the head, and then we've got the other part of the head, and then we got where we've got the wings, and where you can see where it's quite intense and white, that's where the main area of influence is. And then where it kind of grays out a little bit, it's still having influence, but it's not as strong as that. Okay, it takes a bit of getting used to. But essentially, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make this solid, and any influence, say, any part of this wing has on the head, we need to basically try and take that away. So how we're going to do this is we're going to have a look at, particularly with this joint, we can see here, I've got the end of the wing there. Now that part doesn't appear to be influencing the main body. If we go up though, and we can see there, where we were before, we can see it is having an influence. Now we don't want that. So what we're going to need to do is holding down, by the way, if you want to change the size of the brush, you can hold down B and left button mouse and kind of go back and forth, or left and right. What we're going to do here is, though, is hold down Control, and we're going to basically take away that influence. Now you'll see it starts to do a bit of a strange thing with the mesh. And essentially, it's bending it back to really what it should look like. And the reason for this is basically because we've bent that wing, it's then basically warped this. So we're going to bring it back into its original position, basically. So like I say, takes a little bit of getting used to. You might need to just have a bit of a play around. And probably what I'll do is I'll probably speed this part of the video up just so we can get to the next. Okay, so we've managed to just take off that influence around the body and actually bring that part of the body back to how it looked. So it's basically the area of influence is just around the actual shoulder part of this character. Now, I'm going to attempt to just do a mirror skin weight. So basically, try and transfer what I've done here over to the other side. And we'll see how that works out, because sometimes I find it a little bit hit and miss. So let's just have a go and see how this works. Okay, so it seems to have worked in this instance. So basically, what I've done here, it's transferred to the other side, and it's allowed yeah, it's allowed me to be able to kind of to basically just transfer it. So that's pretty cool. But again, it can be a little bit hit and miss, but in this instance, it has worked. Okay, so we're looking pretty good so far. We've got that influence from the body there. Now I'm going to go back to the top again, and we can see there that's the main part of the body. Now, what I'm going to do here is, instead of holding down Control this time, I'm just going to paint now into this head. And because sometimes there can be like a little bit of an influence still coming from the other parts of the body. So I don't want that. So what I want to do is I just want to completely firm this up and make this completely sovereign. So there's nothing else influencing it. So as you recall, if it's solid white, nothing is going to move it. There's no other thing that's going to move it from anywhere else. So, and because this body is essentially going to be rigid, I'm just as a kind of fail safe, I'm just going to paint all the way over into the back here. Okay, looking pretty good. So I'm just going to now have a look around and just make sure, just as a kind of last kind of look around, and just make sure there's nothing untoward. So for example, here, you can see a bit of influence. So I'm just going to hold down Control and just take that away, because I don't want that wing moving any parts of the body at all. Right. So by rights, if I just close this, oops, if I just close this down now and just go back to this. Now by rights, if I now select that and select that, and then use the W key and move this around, we shouldn't by rights see really any significant movement going on with the body. I can see there's a little bit of play just with the horns there. I mean, this may not be entirely necessary to kind of get, get this, what's the word I'm looking for, pedantic with it. It might even be something that you might want to kind of, because this is an organic creature, it might be something that you're looking for. But if you're not, what you can do is you can just keep going back and forth. So say, for example, we can see there is still that influence going on. I'm just going to select that mesh again. and just double click and just sort of try and look for areas where that might be being influenced. Yeah. All right, let's just go and have another look. I'll click off. Now do the same thing again. I'll just select that controller there and that controller there, and hit W and move them up and down. Yeah, so there we go. That's really sort of stopped that movement. And there's a little bit of movement there, but again, you can sort of take care of that. I'm not going to worry too much about that, to be honest. You can see a little bit of movement there with these little horns just underneath, but you get the general idea. But for the most part, this is all looking pretty good, getting the movement that I wanted. So that's pretty much it. In the next video, folks, is going to be looking at how to do a very basic animation with this. So don't worry if you're not used to animation. It's going to be very, very simple. Just wings up and then wings down in 24 frames. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. I shall see you in the next video, folks. Bye for now. Bye for now. Hi, folks, and welcome back to the last video. So in this video, we're going to be importing our file from Maya into Unreal, and we're going to apply the animations and some additional animation as well, and just a little play with the blueprints to bring our scene to life. So without further ado, let's get going. So first of all, we're going to go to Add Import and then Import to the game. Now I've taken the liberty of just dragging the file that we created in Maya into Unreal. There we go. So all you'll need, you can't actually see the bottom of this because of the scaling on my monitor, but basically we'll just need to go to Import Animations, and at the bottom you'll see Import All. So you just need to click on that. That's all you need to do. So I'm just going to drag this off screen for the minute onto my other monitor. Go to Import All. Let's give this a second. And just close this box down. So as you see here, we've got a few things. We've got our material for the character. We're not really going to bother with that for the time being. We've got some other materials there to go in it. The main thing we're going to be concerned about is the mesh, the skeletal mesh, and also we're going to be looking at the animation. So before we go any further, let's just double check and see that the animation is working correctly. So I'm just going to double click on that. It's just opened up in the other monitor, so I'm going to bring that in. So that's all working beautifully. That's great. That's exactly what we need to see. So I'm just going to click off that now. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click and hold and drag on the skeletal mesh, put that into the scene. R key just to enlarge, like so. E key just to rotate. Now this will shift once we put the animation in there, but it's just to really just get the scale for the time being. So something like that. Now, with that selected, I'm just going to go into the right here and go to where it says Details. You'll see here under Animation it says Animation Mode, Use Animation Blueprint. Now, we're not working through some complex system here. We're just going to be using the animation itself. So all we need to do is click on the box here and go to Use Animation Asset. When we do that, you'll see a little box that opens here, which is basically blank. And all we need to do now is click and hold, drag it into that box, and it'll just shift it a little bit. We just need to readjust our character like so. By the way, if you want to sort of turn the snapping off, you can always click on these buttons here just to turn them off if you want like more fluid motion on it. You can hit F as well to center and just kind of get an idea of where the character is. So at the moment it's just got the basic diffuse on there, but it's but we're not going to worry about that too much. Okay. So let's get going. So what I'm going to do here is next is I'm going to look at basically making a path. We're going to animate the character as well. So at the moment, if I just go into play, you'll see here. So that's working well, but there's no real movement. It looks fairly kind of, it's just static. There's nothing happening. So we need to create some movement on that. So I'm going to hit escape. And I'm not sure what that's about, but I don't think it's got any bearing on what we're doing, at least for the time being. And what we're going to do next is we're going to create a sequence player. So we do that by going to Window and Cinematics and Sequencer. Okay, so we've got that. And then after we created that tab, we need to go through to Cinematics and then Add Level Sequence. Okay, you can give this a name. We can call it, say, I bat sequence. Save that. There we go. So we'll be able to see that now. If we go into the World Outliner, you'll be able to see it there. Okay. Right. So I've got the snapping turned on, and also I've got the automatic kind of keyframing turned on as well. So that'll be handy when we're moving around, so we don't need to keep hitting the S key to put the keyframes in. Before we go any further, though, we're going to need to select the thing that we're going to animate. So whatever object that is in here, you can animate. In this instance, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be animating this. So we'll need to go to where it says track, click on that, go to actor to sequencer, and then we need to go down to where it says rig. You see there now, that's selected. It's now created like a time frame, and we're ready to start animating. Now we've got a timeline here that you can see. Now at the moment it's in frames. Well, let's just change that around just so we make life easier for ourselves. So we're going to go to where it says 30 FPS, show time as, and we'll put it in seconds. So now we've got an idea. Okay, that's 5 seconds. You can increase this time if you want. You can sort of move it to like 10 seconds. You could key that in perhaps. And then just extend this a little bit, and now we've got 10 seconds. So it's entirely up to you how far you take this. So let's say we drag this out. So basically these markers here determine where the animation takes place. And let's start putting some keyframes in. So I'm just going to move it now just from left to right. And it's just going to have a very basic like up and down. So first of all, I'm just going to move it from left to right. So I'm going to hit the S key. And you see there it puts a keyframe in. I'm going to move it to say the 5 second mark there. And then I'm going to move it in front of the character. And you see there now, it's put in like a little line. So this is basically our representation of our keyframes. Now, if I move it back, now that will play, obviously, it'll play, but if I just sort of scrub back, back and forth, it'll play that way, but it won't actually play the animation because we haven't created the mechanics for it yet. So what we're going to do here is, before we do that though, I'm going to just create a bit of movement. So what I'm going to do here is, as we get to say the first second, I'm going to move it up. You can see there now the actual line changes. I'm going to move it along another second, move it down, move it along, move it up. So it has this kind of wiggly line that starts to appear. So something like that. Now we can move it back. So we could go back the other way. So as it gets to there, maybe what we can do is we can do another turn on this. So we can hit the S key and then move it along a little bit more and hit the E key and rotate like so. So something like that. So when we play back, we can see now that it'll kind of go along like so. There'll be a keyframe to stop that. And then the other keyframe that basically begins the process of spinning it around like so quite quickly. Now you can move these around, so they're not static. If you wanted that turn to be a little bit slower, you could do that. And then we're ready to basically bring our character back. So again, what I'm going to do here is perhaps what I'll do is I'll do something like that. And then on the next frame there, I'm going to move it forward to say there. and then bring it up like so. Maybe a little bit forward a bit more to, let's say, there. Take it forward again. Take it along to, say, there. Move it along again. And perhaps we'll just take it along to, say, there. And what we'll do there is I'll just create another little keyframe there, S, move it along to the almost to like the 10-second mark, and we'll just rotate it. And perhaps what we'll do is I'm just going to bring it in a little bit. What we'll do is we'll perhaps just take it back to where it started there, like so. So what we'll effectively have is it'll turn around and basically perform a loop. Right. So that's all good, but we won't see any animation at the moment until we do our mechanics. So once we've kind of got that sorted, okay, we're going to need to basically go into the blueprints, right? So this is where we're going to go to the blueprints and open level blueprint. And what we're going to do here is we're going to right click and go event, begin, play. You can see there. I'm going to click on that. And then next what we're going to do is we're going to bring in, if we go into the world outliner, we're going to bring in our little level sequence, yeah, there. So IBAT sequence. I'm going to click and hold and drag that into our scene, like so. And then from there, we're going to drag out from this. I'm going to type in get sequence player. So we'll see that probably right down at the very bottom. I'm going to click on that, like so. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to drag out from that. I'm going to type in the word play. And I'm going to click on that there. So it's the play that we want there, like so. We're going to plug the event begin play now into our play, like so. Then after that, we're going to basically create a loop. So we do that in the form of what's called a delay. So I'm going to drag out from there, type in delay, and click on that, like so. Now, this is set as default at about 0.2 seconds, so that's quite a short amount of delay. We'll leave that. And then what we're going to do is on the end here, we're going to click and hold, and we're going to drag that all the way and put that back in at the beginning. We're just going to create a couple of nodes here just so we can move this line. So I'm going to double click to create this little node as well. I'll move that to there, and then just another one there as well, like so. So let's go and have a look. I'm going to go to compile and save. All right, so no errors, that's good. Yep, that's all good. It's going to move this over onto my other monitor now. And this is the moment of truth. So drum roll, folks. Let's go and have a look and see if our animation is playing. Hey presto. There we go. Let's make this screen a little bit larger. There we go. So we've got our character in a little loop now. And of course you can speed this up if you want. If it's going a little bit too slow for you, by all means, you can you can move this move the keyframes around and have it play that way. But for all intents and purposes, that is pretty much it. So if you've got any questions, of course, you can always leave it in the comment section as I'm putting this on YouTube. By all means, don't hold back. Any questions you have, any difficulties you have, get in touch. In the meantime, hopefully you found these videos useful, and thanks for watching, and until next time, folks, bye for now.